also able to put the things together, the video together.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll let you edit this video and put these
it's not
pieces together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, it's feasible.
Uh-huh. All right. So we had been talking about the four foundations of mindfulness, or actually the four foundations of humanity that we're going to apply to our practice: the body, the feelings, the state of mind, and the objects of the mind. And that we work firstly with the body. And by working with the body, we're already working with the mind. For instance, if you take a deep breath, you cannot take a deep breath unless you're remembering to take a deep breath, and you actually, with the mind. So when we're training the body, we're training the mind. Does that make sense? When we're training the body, we're training the mind. Okay. Yeah, you can. I don't think it's very noisy. Why don't you leave your microphone on so we can talk?
Okay, perfect. Okay, I'll leave it on. So when do you think is the mind that control the body, or the body that control? For example, if we
they work together, they're interactive. It's like, does the husband control the wife, or does the wife control the husband? It depends upon the moment.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And so they're interactive. That in fact, the feelings are interactive too. All four of them are interactive. An example of that is when you're in a bad mood, the things that you think about and the things that you say are different than when your mind is in a happy mood.
Yeah.
All right. And when the body is hurting, you're having different kind of thoughts than when the body is feeling pleasure.
Agree.
Okay. So that's an easy one.
Okay. So are the kind of the same level, like interacting on the same level?
We're all right, because they're all connected together, so they interact with each other.
Okay.
This is well known in many places in human existence throughout our society. An example of that is in a debate. They don't want you to give ad hominem attacks. If you attack the person personally, then he'll be upset and angry at you. And because he's unhappy and angry and upset at you, he will lose track of his points of debate.
Okay.
All right. So that shows the interaction. And we're going to use that not to our disadvantage. We're going to start using that to our advantage. And so when the mind wanders away, we start again. But normally what happens is that when people recognize that the mind has wandered away, they have bad thoughts and bad feelings about it. Oh no, you should be watching your breath and you're not doing that. Oh no, the mind has wandered away. Well, that means at that point, you're actually not practicing. You're going back into the old way of doing it. And so whenever you remember to start practicing again, you start off with congratulating yourself. Hey, I do remember now. Never mind all of those times that I didn't remember.
Showing a bit of compassion to ourselves.
Begin to have that, what I would call it would be nurturing, to start nurturing yourself. And we can do that with those happy thoughts. Okay, so we change our unwholesome thoughts into wholesome thoughts about everything's all right, everything is fine, and pretty soon we begin to have a feeling, or let us say an attitude, that everything is okay, that everything is fine. We use those words, that will change the mind. We're actually putting the body in a place to where it is safe and secure and comfortable. And because of that, we'll eventually start to feeling that way. Now, many students I have heard saying, well, I can talk myself into feeling good all I want to, and I still don't feel good. Right? The answer to that is it does take a while. because you've been talking yourself into feeling bad all of these years. Now you can talk yourself into feeling good, but it's going to take a whole lot of talking and a whole lot of breathing and a whole lot of changing of our attitude, and pretty soon the way that we feel will begin to change.
Yes.
That in fact what we could say is that we're going to have the body and the mind gang up on the feelings. That we're going to get the body in a completely useful, restful, comfortable, relaxed state. And then we're going to get the mind in a comfortable, relaxed state, feeling safe and secure. And by using those two things together, eventually the feelings will come along so that you begin to feel safe and comfortable, relaxed.
Maybe, yeah, I recall maybe a word that they use in psychology. They use the word reparenting ourselves. So basically giving a bit the match the unmet needs that we didn't have during the childhood from our parents. So be our parents for ourselves, giving the love that we deserve.
Right. Actually, most parents don't give their little children the kind of love and care that they need. So we're kind of starved for it right from the very beginning. Now, mom and dad does nurture an infant. If there is no nurturing, then the infant will die.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be fed and clothed and housed and all of that kind of stuff. But oftentimes, the language that's used is not nurturing language. And so we have to start using nurturing language to nurture our mind and to nurture the body so that we begin to feel that nurturing. Like everything is okay, you got this wired, all of it is all right. No place to go, nothing to do, everything is all right, everything is fine. These are the kind of words that we want to start using. Taking deep breaths, relaxing, watching the body. Let the body be comfortable. Let the words be comfortable. And if the feelings are not there, just note that and say, well, yeah, you can feel comfortable. You can feel nurtured. You can feel safe. You can feel secure. You've done it before. Now is the time to practice doing that again. Because if we can feel safe, secure, nurtured, and comfortable, now comes the next item, which is to become and feel satisfied. So we talk ourselves into feeling safe and secure, or not just feeling, but have the attitude that we're safe and secure. And that will then cause us to have the feelings of being safe, secure, comfortable, and satisfied. Because the real point is that the entire teaching of the Buddha is to come out of our dissatisfaction. So when you're in a state of satisfaction, then you're dukkha free. This is all the Buddha is teaching, is just get yourself satisfied. But we need to practice that over and over again because it's so easy to become dissatisfied. Almost everything is dissatisfying because of our attitude of being dissatisfied and the feeling of being dissatisfied. And so the thoughts will be thoughts of being dissatisfied. What we can do instead is change all of that around from unwholesome into wholesome, from being dissatisfied into being satisfied. Now, basically, what we're talking about here is the word that's used as anapanasati. Now, anapanasati actually refers to mindfully breathing in and mindfully breathing out, and that's the foundation. So that when we gladden the mind, we gladden the mind while we're still watching the breath, breathing in comfortable, breathing out comfortable, long, easy, relaxing, satisfying breaths. Sort of like.
I'm familiar with the practice, yes.
And so when we can get the breathing in a satisfying way, then we can begin to have the thoughts that are also satisfying. Like, oh, I don't have anything to do right now. Everything has already been done. Any work that needs to be done has already been done, or it's way off in the future someplace, and I'm not interested in the future. We're interested in being safe, secure, comfortable, and satisfied right now.
Okay,
All
good. But
right.
just one question on your approach to pain. For example, you have a pain in the knee. How do you approach this pain?
You're using the word pain.
Yeah. For example, we are talking about the body and our mindset towards the pain. So if you have like a pain in the knee, what is your approach? What you do? You observe the pain, you go into the pain, you ignore the pain, you see yourself as you're not your body, or what do you do?
Well, there are two kinds of pains. One is the message that you're doing something that you should not be doing, and the pain and the leg is telling you about it. It's a message. The other possibility, the second one, is that the sensations are a sensation of healing. Normally, healing sensations are itchy sensations. For instance, if your arm is broken and it's in a cast, it will get itchy. If you have a mosquito bite, it gets itchy. All right. And that's a message saying that it's healing now. And so we often don't like that itchy sensation. And so we start to scratch like a dog. We'll use our fingernails and we'll make it rough, just like I'm doing here. Okay. So what we would do instead is to take a salve or an ointment and nourish that wound. But the one that you were talking about with the knee pain, normally knee pain is because we're sitting too long. And what we need to do is to listen to the knee and make a change, like adjusting your posture, getting off of the knee. It's a message. And we ignore the messages of the body. Like I said before, that when we were little children, there was a whole lot of sensations that the child doesn't like, and so he tries to ignore it. Here, we're not going to ignore it. We're going to pay close attention to it as a message. The knee is saying, hey, I'm in pain here, and I expect you to do something about it. And so that's the first thing, is to go ahead and move. I know that many meditation teachers say, oh, you're supposed to observe the pain, but that would be only in the case that you cannot change the pain. But if you can move the leg, if you can adjust your posture so that the leg pain goes away, then you're good to go. But it is possible that the pain doesn't go away simply because we're listening to the message, that it might be a different kind of pain. It can be a healing kind of pain. But remember that the word pain has the quality that we don't like it. That really what it is in the body is a sensation. The sensation is the nerves saying something. Sometimes it's very loud, sometimes it's dull, sometimes it's itchy, sometimes it's sharp. But whatever the sensation is still just a sensation. That the pain comes because we don't like that sensation. And so there's many things that we can do about it. But if we can't do anything about it and the sensation remains, now we can begin to investigate it, look at it closely, examine it, see if we can find out exactly where it's pain, where that sensation is coming from, and learn to like it. That we're calling it pain because we don't like it. And anything that you don't like is because you're not satisfied with it. That's dukkha. So how can we become satisfied with it? Well, one is to have the pain go away because we've adjusted our posture, changed our, put some salve or ointment on a bite or a mosquito bite, something like that. And If that doesn't work, now we can begin to nurture the mind like, oh, well, that's just a sensation. I can handle it. Let me go in and look at it. All right. But the whole point about it is that we're going to stop doing things absent-mindedly, which means we don't like it. And we do that ignorantly. We're not watching that. And we can change that from not liking it into the attitude of, I can do this, I can handle it. Just because there's a sensation there doesn't mean that the mind is dissatisfied. We can keep the mind satisfied even though that sensation is there.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, when we don't like it, we make it worse. When we're okay with it, then it's not so bad. We actually augment that sensation by calling it pain. And so this is part of the practice right from the beginning, but it's going to be there for a while. And all we have to do is to pay attention to it and to give it some nurturing in the sense of adjusting the posture, putting on some ointment, do the kinds of things that we would do for someone else's pain. Because it's really not your pain. You just want it to be your pain. It's my pain. It's in my body. Because we're attached to it that way. And so if we would treat that a sensation of that pain as if we were, let us say, a well-known, well-respected, highly qualified doctor, you become your own physician and nurture that thing. Keep it still. For instance, when a broken arm is healing, it needs to be set still. And so it's put into a cast. And yet most of the kids who've broken their arm, they still want to use the hand. If they break their right arm and they're right-handed, they don't want to do everything just left-handed. They want to move that arm around. They want to pick up coffee. They want to smoke a cigarette. They want to write something down on a piece of paper. They want to catch a ball. They want to do all kinds of things with that hand. And when you're moving your hand, the muscles in the arm are moving, which will keep that that arm from being set. So we need to immobilize it, give it some rest, take the pressure off. Okay. One of the things that I have known for a while is that if a kid is using his hand while his arm is broken, the best thing to do for him is put a sock on that hand, because that sock will keep him from being able to use it very much. And it'll also help him to remember you're not supposed to use this hand. You're supposed to keep the hand still so that the bone will set. Or in case of a shoulder that's out of joint, and you need to keep the shoulder and the arm still, so you keep the hand still also. All right, so this is the whole point about the pain, is that it's actually part of the practice. Why? Because pain, for most people in the beginning, is not satisfying. They're dissatisfied. They don't want that pain to be there, rather than listening to that pain that they call pain as a sensation that's a message. And that it happens when we get old. I've gotten kind of old, and so I've got hip pain.
Mm-hmm.
And then I make a joke out of it, but I pay attention to it, and when it starts to hurt, I'll get off of it.
Okay.
So that's the whole point, is to make a change. You can either change your posture with the body, you can change your attitude, you can change your thoughts, and pretty soon you can change your feelings from I don't like it and call it pain into it's okay, I can handle it, and you can become satisfied with it. Also, when there is pain, many people become afraid of that pain. Oh no, my butt hurts, maybe I've got cancer. Or, oh no, my chest hurts, maybe I've got this. And so they go down the rat hole of making it worse, rather than having the attitude, it's going to be okay. that in fact people will give themselves cancer when they don't need to give themselves cancer because they talk themselves into it. One of the favorites, by the way, for men is giving themselves prostate cancer.
Oh.
Yeah. What is prostate cancer? It's a bad attitude. If you have a really good attitude, like a bad attitude, oh, I can't get any. Oh, I want it, but I can't have it. And the answer to that is, oh, man, I don't need any of that stuff. And if you don't need it and you don't want it, then you're not going to give yourself cancer over it.
Okay.
All right? So
okay, all right.
it's all about using the body and the mind states and the mind's objects of thought in order to get the feelings straightened out so that we begin to feel safe, secure, comfortable, and feeling satisfied. Everything is okay. Everything is all right. Even though there's work to do, I'll do it later. Right now, in this breath, I'm going to take a deep breath and be satisfied. This is a good moment. And so we need to practice that, to practice getting ourselves into a state of satisfaction where everything is okay. Now, this is actually the Anapanasati that we're talking about. Even though it's got 16 stages, those stages are broken into these 4 points of the body, the feeling, the mind, and the mind's objects. And so we're going to work with those. And so we apply the Eightfold Noble Path to the practice of Anapanasati, and that we use the 4 foundations of mindfulness as objects in the meditation so that we begin to feel satisfied, that things right now are good enough. Now, something interesting happens with that. So far, we've been talking about only 3 items in the Eightfold Noble Path. We haven't gone all the way through the Eightfold Noble Path. We've just been talking about to remember, to take a look, and to make a change. To remember, to take a look, and to make a change. So, if you remember to look and you say, oh, I'm calling my pain in the knee pain. Let's do something about it. Let's change it. Let's readjust it. Both we're going to readjust the body by changing the posture, and we're also going to readjust our attitude from an attitude of I don't like it into the attitude of I can handle this. I'll be all right with this. And pretty soon that pain is not important anymore. That in fact, when we're looking at something else, that pain will go away because we're not paying attention to it. As soon as we look at it again, there the pain is, and there's the not liking it again. And so the thing that we're going to do is to pay attention to how good we feel. We're going to pay attention to the fact that I can feel safe, secure, comfortable, and satisfied. All right? By doing this, we add a 4th point. And that 4th point is the attitude that I mentioned already. We begin to change our attitude, and when we change it well, because we have safe, secure, comfortable, and satisfied, now we're going to add to that, aha, I can do this. I could do it. I've done it. I do it over and over again. And so we begin to build confidence that we can, in fact, feel good. We become that winner. We're able to do it. We're able to do it. That's the important point. Okay, I can do this. And when the mind gets to the point that no matter what obstructions, no matter what pains, no matter what happens, I can change it. I can come out of it. I can see things the way that they really are. And that's the change of attitude. This is in the Eightfold Noble Path. It's called the Sammasankappa, which is an attitude change. I can change. And I know that I can change. When we get advanced with that and know that we can change, then we have that concept of without a doubt, nothing can keep me stuck up in my pain. I can come out of it and see things the way that they really are. This is the first step on the noble path. And when we gain that noble path altogether, then you know that the Buddha was referred to as a lion.
Yes, yes, you told me last time. I was surprised actually because I didn't know.
Yeah, you start to become a lion. What does that mean? You're the boss of your life. You can handle things. No matter what comes by, I've got it. I can handle it. Even when death comes, I can handle that too. So we need to get ready for handling anything. That in fact, you could say that the knee pain is actually to your advantage because it's teaching you to how to handle things that before you couldn't handle it. Now we can handle that. That's the real teaching of the Buddha, is to become a lion, to take that spirit of, I've got it. Become a winner. Become the boss of your life. This is also what we could put in is called the wow sensation. Wow, this is really great. Wow, I can handle my life. Wow, this is really good.
I mean, one sentence that's really changed my perspective on my own life is you are responsible for your own happiness. So it's what you're saying. Yeah.
Right.
So
we are responsible for it. And here we've already gotten that. That responsibility means the ability to respond or the ability to change. But normally what we do is we react. What does that mean? It means we do the same thing that we've been doing. We act again and again and again the same way rather than change, to be able to respond. And when we are able to respond, when we're able to change, then we become responsible. This is the winner's attitude. I can handle this. I can do this. Now, if you don't mind, I'll give you a little bit of Pali because this is actually what we're talking about here. The safe, secure, comfortable, and satisfied comes under the quality of sukha. Now, sukha
is the opposite of dukkha, right?
Is exactly the opposite of dukkha, which means if you're satisfied, that's exactly opposite of the state of dissatisfaction. We're satisfied. And then that wow sensation, that roar, that attitude is called the piti. Okay. And so the piti sukha work together. When you get yourself into that really happy, powerful, profound state, where we actually have no unwholesome thoughts, which means no hindrances, then with no hindrances and have that feeling of, I got this, having the feeling of safe, secure, and satisfied, and we apply the mind to that and can keep it going. We sustain that attitude. We sustain that feeling of satisfaction. This is what's called jhana. That first jhana is the state of feeling safe, secure, comfortable, and satisfied. And you could also say that the Anapanasati Sutta is, in fact, the prescription of how to get into first jhana. That we want to feel like we've got it. We want to feel like everything is okay. But we have to talk ourselves into that. It's going to be a slow process because, like I said, we've been talking ourselves into being dissatisfied. We've been talking ourselves into feeling bad. We've been talking ourselves into being in pain for all of these years. Now we have to talk ourselves into feeling safe, talk ourselves into being secure. Now, you have to be safe and secure. The reality is the body is safe and secure, but we still don't feel safe and secure because we've been talking to ourselves about it not being safe and secure when the reality is that we have been safe and secure. And so the reality is what we're looking for.
Just one question.
I'm listening.
It's super, you say safe, secure, and satisfy. Satisfy makes a lot of sense to me but secure, I mean, in nowadays society seems a bit, I don't know.
Well, let's not go for
kind
the
of
long
easy
term.
to.
Let's go for right now. Let's get ourselves into the feeling of safe and secure right now. Let's not think about society right now. Let's think about that we're not in society right now, that if the body can feel safe and secure, then you can also begin to feel safe and secure, having safe and secure thoughts, and eventually the feelings will be safe and secure. Later, you'll feel unsafe and insecure because that's your habit. But for right now, we're going to practice being safe and secure, getting the body safe and secure in reality, and then having thoughts of being safe and secure. And pretty soon we begin to feel safe and secure. And we can do that. So anytime that you recognize that you're not safe and secure, let yourself know that. Point that out to yourself. Investigate that. Recognize that you don't feel safe and secure. And now you can change that. You can change it by getting the body safe and secure. You can change that by getting out of unwholesome thoughts and into wholesome thoughts. And then the body.
One example.
Go ahead.
Yep, just a quick example of unsafe thought. Unsafe. Common unsafe thought or behavior.
Okay. You feel unsafe, but the reality is that you're probably safe.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if that happens often to people feeling unsafe. I mean, our life is not threatened by someone so often nowadays. So the feeling of being safe, maybe it's common. It's maybe it's emotionally safe. Maybe that's the interpretation. So.
Well, in
be
all
able to
cases,
be vulnerable, maybe. Oh, okay.
Well, no, the body is the word vulnerable actually is misapplied many times.
Okay.
All right. If you're standing in traffic, you're vulnerable. If somebody is fussing at you, you're not necessarily vulnerable. If somebody is yelling at you, you don't necessarily have to be vulnerable. If you're the lion, if you know that you can handle their yelling at you, then you're not vulnerable. The vulnerability comes from the attitude of being weak.
Okay.
All right. You can be open. Psychologists talk about being open and vulnerable. No. You can be open and strong. That in fact, when we're vulnerable, we're often closed. We're not open.
Because vulnerable means, my interpretation is showing a side of yourself, like a bad story that happened to you, or something intimate, without feeling.
But now here's the point.
Threatened.
Remember, we're talking about something that we're doing in private. We're talking about in practice. Okay. How we apply it to the world out there. You're talking about that the person who is vulnerable has no practice. If you get skilled in your practice, then you're not vulnerable when you're talking to someone. Whatever they have to say, you could be honest and not be vulnerable. That even if you're confessing wrongdoing, you don't have to be vulnerable. You can just say, yes, I screwed that up. But I'm still strong. I'm not vulnerable. Vulnerability is weakness. And weakness comes from the attitude of being weak, which is the attitude of being a victim, that you're victimized by the outside world. Okay. And we have been victimized by the outside world for our whole lives. Now is the time to practice in seclusion, to stop feeling that vulnerability, to start feeling safe and secure right now. Get that feeling going, and then you can go out into the world and practice feeling safe and secure and comfortable in those times and places where you would feel vulnerable before. Now, really, the word vulnerable actually has the quality of danger. And most often, when someone is yelling at you, you're not in danger. They're just unhappy. They're unsafe. They're unsecure. They're yelling. But that doesn't mean that you have to be unsafe, unsecure, and being the object of their yelling. That's what we've been doing our whole lives. We started doing that when mommy yelled at the baby. And the baby was feeling vulnerable and scared because he wasn't able to handle his feelings. But now we're going to practice handling our feelings so that we can continue to feel safe and secure, because the reality is that someone yelling at you is not dangerous.
Okay.
That's ignorance on our part.
Okay.
That we're not in danger. But we have to practice that feeling of being not in danger. And so this is why we practice. This is what the practice is all about, is to practice feeling differently, practice having the body different, practice having the mind states different so that you're not feeling vulnerable, you don't have the attitude of being vulnerable. You have the attitude of, I can handle this. And with that attitude change and the body change, we can also change the way that we feel so that we don't feel vulnerable. All right?
All right.
So, to finish off here, let's put this into the context of Anapanasati as a formal practice. Each of the 4 points, the body, the feeling, the mind, and the mind's objects, these 4 items each have 4 points to them, right? The body is being able to breathe mindfully in and out with long breaths or with short breaths, but we're still paying attention to it. The third step then is to notice the body, to watch what the body is doing, to become familiar with the body and its sensations. And then the fourth one is to relax the body. All right? And then in the feelings, we're going to be generating the feelings of safe and secure and comfortable and relaxed and satisfied. And then we practice that state of changing to that wow and become a lion. Also in there, we begin to see that the feelings and the are interrelated. And then we can actually, let us say, mollify the feelings to the point that it's easy now, completely relaxed in our feelings. The mind also, the first thing that we're doing is gladdening the mind and investigating what is the mind states that we have. And eventually we're going to be able to unify the mind. And then we're going to be able to relax the mind also. With the fourth one, with the Dhammanupassana, the thing that we're going to be doing is recognizing everything is changing, and we can change too. And that when things change for the worse and die, we can let all of that go. We can relinquish it. We can throw it back mentally. In other words, we can change our thoughts. So this is the way that the Anapanasati Sutta is structured, but we're always going to do it within the context of the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Noble Path, so that we get that mind unified. We get that mind into a state of samadhi, which means that it's easy. So this is the way that we practice, and we practice this over and over and over again. So when the mind wanders away into unwholesome thoughts, we say, aha, I see that. Then in fact, the Buddha had a particular phrase that he used and he taught often. And that phrase is, aha, I see you, Mara. Aha, I see you, that unwholesome state. Aha, I see it. That's nurturing. Rather than, oh no, here it comes again. We can say, aha, I see you when you come. You begin to accept yourself, warts and all, nurture yourself rather than criticizing yourself, that you're already okay. The problem that we feel so insecure, we don't feel safe and comfortable because we're criticizing ourselves. And so we can stop criticizing ourselves and start being nurturing again. We nurture ourselves. And so we have nurturing thoughts, like everything's going to be all right, got no problems, no worries, everything is easy peasy. And when we start having those thoughts and also having the attitude of nurturing ourselves, then we begin to feel nurtured. But the feelings are taken slow. They come along last.
Yes.
So if you think that you're doing something wrong when you're talking yourself into feeling good and you still feel bad, that's normal. You can say, aha, I see that. But if I keep talking to myself to feeling good, eventually I will feel good. But if I say, oh, I'm talking myself into feeling good, but I still don't feel good, then that's an unwholesome thought. And we can say, oh, well, I can do this. I can do this. I can take care of it. I can get myself into a good state. And if you're practicing correctly, this doesn't take very long. But we get into the habit of wanting things that we don't have, like I want to feel good, and I don't. So wanting to feel good is dukkha.
Is a desire.
Yeah, we desire to feel better than we do instead of just saying, it's okay, it's all right. I know you don't feel well right now, but that's all right. Everything is going to be okay. And we nurture ourselves, and pretty soon we start to feel good. But if we say, oh, you should be feeling good right now, and you don't, that's not nurturing. That's being critical.
Yes. Yes, I agree. Interesting also this when you see in the relationship with others, how we are able to maybe let's say use relationship to see side of ourselves maybe that are not evident to us. And maybe I don't know what is your perception of a relationship from a Buddhist point of view? They can help to how can help a person to arrive at this process? I know it's a solo process you should do by yourself, but I think that maybe like a relationship, like friendship and so on, can help on that path. Or what's your opinion?
Well, for one thing, it is better to have good friends than it has to be enemies. That who you associate with has a great deal to do with your practice. That in fact, when people begin to practice more correctly, then they begin to change how they associate with people, and they also begin to change the people that they associate with. An example of that, have you ever heard of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous? Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
What they recommend is that you change your friend base, that you don't hang around with the drunks anymore. If you're a drunk, you associate with drunks. If you're going to quit drinking, it's better to stop associating with drunks. And go associate with people who are non-drinkers. So the AA, the best quality of AA is their own community, that they will assign advanced students to mentor and to help the younger students. So when the guy gets the idea, oh, I need a drink, instead of going and talking to his drinking buddies, they'll talk him into drinking again. He's going to associate with his AA friend who's going to help him to not drink. Okay? Now, the Dhamma is everything. Drinking is just a little point. The Dhamma is all of it. So that means that we need to eventually start to have wholesome friends to be around. This is what the Buddha talks about as Sangha. You know, the triple gem,
Yeah.
Buddha,
Community.
Dhamma, Sangha.
Yeah, Sangha.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you don't associate with fools. You don't associate with angry people. You don't associate with those. And you start associating with those who are noble, who are friendly, who will nurture you, who will be kind to you so that you can be kind to them. And pretty soon you be kind to yourself.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
So this is an important quality is that let us say that if you've been wounded by an arrow,
Yeah.
all right, isn't it a good idea to get off the battlefield?
It's a good idea to go out.
Yeah, to get off of the battlefield, because if you get shot by an arrow on the battlefield, then you're going to get shot again with an arrow before this one even heals.
Yeah.
So you need to stay away from unwholesome people until you get the skills to deal with them. So that when somebody shoots that verbal arrow at you, you can say, oh, didn't touch me.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Having that kind of self-protection. Okay. Then I think, yes, as you say, it's better to withdraw from certain environment. That's
yes.
like I mean, you can have you. Yeah, exactly. You can be the stronger person in the room, but if that people keep perpetuating that environment for a long time, it's better to just say bye, guys. Probably.
Mm-hmm. So you're beginning to understand what I'm saying here is that always keep it wholesome, and if you're in an unwholesome environment, better to get out of that environment. Go find a wholesome environment so that you can practice being wholesome.
Oh, yes.
This is why they have monasteries, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, it's to get away from that world and get around other people who want to get away from the world. That monks associate with monks, nuns associate with nuns.
Absolutely, yeah. That's what I want to do, actually. Spend a long period in a monastery to see how is it also. Yeah.
Yes. That's the whole point, is to get around wholesome people, and you'll develop that wholesome attitude. But while you're not around unwholesome people and you're on your own, now you're going to on your own develop that wholesome attitude. The attitude of I can handle this. The attitude of I'm satisfied. This is good enough. Wow, this is good enough.
Is maybe there is not the risk that certain people maybe say, oh, it's good enough, or it's okay, and they're a bit too passive in life?
Well,
you know what I'm saying with being passive in life?
If you get the attitude that you're satisfied, and you practice that attitude of being satisfied, then you can take that attitude out and be around other people who are not satisfied and maintain your satisfaction. But if you're kind of wishy-washy, if you're dissatisfied sometimes and satisfied with others, then when you go around people who are dissatisfied, you're going to pick up their vibes and be dissatisfied with them.
Clear. Yeah. Yeah, that's clear. My question is more about if a person always say, okay, it's all okay, I'm satisfied, there is not the risk that has a bit of passive attitude towards life, and maybe never, I don't know, get the job that he dream of, or build the things he want to build, or move to the place that he want to move, something like that. There is not the risk that maybe a person is more, you know, not proactive, let's say, in life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you'll get it. I know you can. You can have that positive attitude of, yeah, I fell down, but never mind, I can get up again and walk again.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
When you fall down, when you go into dukkha, you can say, hey, I don't have to be there. I can change my attitude. I can change my feelings. I can change my body. I can walk away, and the mind can walk away. I can get up and walk away.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful thing to think that no matter what you did, maybe, I don't know, there is always a chance to kind of put yourself on another path. So be another rebirth. Yeah, as you say, you were mentioning before, rebirth is a rebirthing, you know, in the same life.
All right, well, let's finish this call now. I think that you're getting someplace and you're beginning to understand it. So you go practice it. You can listen to this video again.
Yeah.
And practice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Spend some time in wholesome thoughts. Spend some time with happy people. Become happy yourself because you're associating with happy people. All right, Giorgio.
Yes, was a beautiful call. Thank you very much. I will keep practicing my happiness and spread around, because I think that's important, isn't it?
Great. So I'll see you soon.
See you soon. Bye. Have a great day.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.